wood.
Alright, well, I just thought I'd make a quick video on a seemingly simple subject. It is how to spot a softwood in stained furniture. Now I have two wood samples here. I don't know if you maybe can tell what this is, but on the right hand side is a sample of red oak, and on the left you'll see there is a piece of fir. So oak is obviously a hardwood, fir is a softwood. Just a very quick rundown. You can see these lines in the wood, these grain lines on both pieces, both on hardwood and softwood, and those are the annual rings, or sometimes they're called the growth rings. So when a tree grows every year, if you're in a temperate zone, then there's going to be seasons. There's going to be summer, winter, and in the spring the tree grows very quickly. It's usually called early wood, and that wood is rapidly added to the tree trunk, and then in the summer and in the fall it slows down, and there's the late wood. So that's what you're actually seeing here with these lines, and that actually will be a key as how we can tell these apart, because on a hardwood like this piece of red oak, these lines, these darker lines, are actually formed by the early wood. So it's the light, you probably can't see this on the camera, but the grain lines on red oak are caused by large pores that are formed in the spring. And the opposite is true with most softwoods, that the actual lines that what we would call rings are actually formed during the latter part of the growing season, and it's formed by the late wood. So this lighter part is actually the early wood, because softwoods don't have pores, so they just have almost this very grid-like structure to their fibers. And so when you see a piece of softwood, these lines are actually formed by the late wood because they're denser. So that already right there, now that we know the nature of the wood itself, how does that translate into real world application? Well, I'm going to actually put some stain on here right now, and I'll show you how you can see the difference, a very obvious difference between these two woods. So right now I'll just start with the oak, and you can see that actually I'll just let the picture speak for itself, and then I'll explain later what we're actually seeing. I'll just do half of it so you can see see the before and after. Let me just wipe off the excess here. So you can see that basically darkened and accentuated the growth rings. These lines got darker, and it's more higher contrast, I guess, because the stain has lodged in the early wood pores. Let's see what happens when we put it on a softwood like fir. Let me just wipe off the excess, and then we'll take a look at what we're seeing here. Okay, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, basically the colors and the growth rings are now inverted. So on this half, you can see how the grain line used to be the dark part, and then the body of the wood was the lighter part. But when it's stained, that's actually inverted. So now, if you just even follow this grain line right here, this used to be the dark part. Now it's actually the lighter part, because the early wood, the softer, lighter early wood, absorbed a lot more stain than the late wood because it's less dense. So it got significantly darker. The late wood is so dense that it didn't even hardly absorb anything, and so it stayed pretty much the exact same color. So how you would tell a softwood on pretty much any kind of stained furniture is that this looks abnormal. If you're used to working with hardwoods, this just looks abnormal. Basically what it is the growth rings are lighter than the body of the wood. And anytime, just about anytime you see that, especially on something that's stained, that's a dead giveaway that is a softwood. Because usually on just about all other types of wood, these growth rings here are going to be darker, and the body of the wood is going to be lighter. because, again, the stain is actually getting into the pores of the wood. But on softwood, it's the opposite. So anytime you see growth rings that appear to be lighter than the body of wood, there's a good chance that that's a softwood that you're looking at.